Yeah, true words spoken by Buddha and come what may. Alright. Alright, so the YouTube live stream started. So I'd like to get started with today's Sunday service. Yes. Oh, you forget? Okay. Oh, good, good. Okay. Alright, so first. Great, great. All right, so let's get started with the first. Let's start with reciting the true words spoken by Buddha together. The true words spoken by Buddha, Ryuho Okawa. There used to be the light in the great universe. The light is the energy of Buddha. People can live by this energy, and Buddha's energy has made human history. It will be supplied eternally. This eternal light comes from heaven and prevails on earth. This is the light of heaven. Through the prism of Buddha, there appeared the 7 colors of rainbow, arching over in the sky. Here you can see Buddha's mercy. Yellow is the color of teaching. White is the color of saving. Red is the color of justice. Purple is the color of obedience. Blue is the color of thinking. Green is the color of harmony. Silver is the color of progress. These 7 colors help each other, and there appears Buddha land. Buddha land is shining brightly because of gathering of bodhisattvas. This is the land of love or the land of mercy. This is the land of wisdom or the land of teaching. Especially, this is the land of souls rest in peace. Real souls are the children of Buddha. The children of Buddha became real human beings. Real human beings have spirituality. The spirits are immortal powers. The spirits are immortal forces. The spirits are real entities. The physical bodies are the shadows of the spirits. It means you are the boat sailing down the great river. The great river is the symbol of the course of lives. Each of you sails down as a small boat, so you need a boatman. If it were not for your own boatman, you surely go aground. This boatman really means your mind. If your mind makes a mistake, the boat breaks into pieces by a large rock, and you also need a bamboo pole. This pole is the meaning of the true words. When you go down a rapid stream, you need to punt in a stream. Then you can change your course. The true words means the teaching of Buddha. Buddha enlightened and spoke the true words, and Buddha's teaching became a gold mine. This gold mine suggests various teachings. These are another expression of Buddha's truth. It brightens up your days. Or to put it another way, the fruits of Buddha's mercy. All of you, now, here, listen to me. Never lose your way, now and forever. The guiding hand has already waved. Please follow this white hand and go straightly on and on. Your lives are not limited to this world only. They have 3 aspects: the past, the present, the future. Your past have already gone by, yet still your mistakes will be kept in your minds. That is the reason why you should understand other people, and you yourself should reflect on what you have done. You and others are not different. On the contrary, both are children of Buddha and brothers and sisters. Now then, love each other. Let us bring up each other, and it's time to forgive each other. This is the eternal law, which penetrates the present and the future. Yes, indeed, the light of the dark night. The dark night of this world is hell. It is also the same in another world. Since we came down to this world, the sun of the truth is scheduled to rise. Now we are watching rising sun. It will shed light to the future. to invite sad people to Buddha land. Now here I command, there shall not be conflict in this world. There shall not be distrust in this world. There shall not be crime in this world. There shall not be evil spirit in this world. There shall not be the devil in the next world. Only the ideal world, utopia, shall be realized. All of the people love each other, live harmoniously, believe in one another. That world is utopia. All of us could be the light of bodhisattvas. Believe in that the light has reality. Believe in that love has reality. Believe in that the truth has reality. These are the facts that should be conveyed. We, the light of bodhisattvas, get together, work together to keep right mind and live in tune with Buddha's words. Here we vow to do so. Alright, hello everyone from YouTube and everyone who's here. Again, I'd like to offer our sincerest gratitude to the Lord for giving us this new movie, Beautiful Lore. Thank you, Lord, Master Lee Okawa, for giving us another weapon of light to help enlighten this world to the true secret and the true values of the major side of heaven, so we can guide humanity to happiness. Thank you very much. Now, this movie is extremely important. The reason why I say this is because maybe Aries sent out the email for the New York members here, but this movie was supposed to be released in 2026. But then it was fast forwarded to 2021. So that was also Master Okawa's decision. So he saw the world, he saw what's going on in Japan, he saw what's going on inside of Happy Science, and he just thought that there are just so many Tengus or Yomas in this world, or so many people who are influenced by this minor side of heaven or rear side of heaven. If you'd like to learn more about that, obviously it is in this year's Law series, The Laws of Secret. But today I'm going to be focusing on how to overcome the Tengu Mind, which is very similar to the Yoma Mind. But before I get in, let me show you the trailer for this movie with the English voiceover.
There has been a recent spate of sudden deaths on the streets of Tokyo, and the Metropolitan Police Department is investigating the possibility that there is a connection.
My name is Maiko.
Tell me, how are you able to tell that he was my son?
Don't forget to visit us even after you become Prime Minister.
I promise, all of you, a brighter future for Japan.
My luck has changed since the day that I met you, and I think that it was fate that I got to meet you. A nine-tailed fox.
They transform themselves into beautiful women and seek to control powerful people.
A Yoma is a foxy demon who uses their beauty to lure men and eventually destroy them. A beautiful lure will eventually lead the country to collapse.
Is it possible to get that Yoma out of her somehow?
Are you ready to guide her? No matter what the outcome will be.
Yoma, leave human beings alone!
So that is the next movie that Master Okawa has created for us. And just a quick synopsis. There's this young man who has a high ambition of becoming the next Prime Minister of Japan. He is the heir of the former Prime Minister. And so, he is in that political realm by his birth. But not only that, he's a very pure man, and he's working really hard to achieve his dreams. But then he meets this lady who seduces him, and he gets, trapped into her beautiful lure. And so it's a battle of being able to stick with your pure dreams. And so in a way, it's a battle against himself. So it's the teachings of the mind. It's a very wonderful movie that will teach us many great lessons. And so that's about Yoma. But Yomas and Tengus, as the Master has taught us, is in the similar position in the spiritual world. And maybe we've been always talking about Yomas and Tengus so much this year already. And we've done the Koan seminars. I've done the Laws of Secret seminar. Eri has done the Yoma Sunday service. So, you're probably already informed. You probably read this book. And I just want to hear, I just want to see how many of you felt pressured from these teachings that you must change this year. I did, for sure. I definitely did. Well, we're going to be going in more details of what a Tengu is in more details, but I'm sure a lot of us already know. It's the people who are highly ambitious, but are a little too self-centered, and they lack love, so they're self-absorbed, and they're just focusing on their own dreams. And so they have a power to propel forward, but then that success doesn't last long because they're so focused on themselves. And when these teachings came out, to be honest with you, I was like, I felt like my whole identity was like, kind of, how should I say this? I felt like I'm not loved by the Lord. I'm not loved by the Lord. I'm not accepted by Him. So then I had this tough time of trying to go through self-transformation. But I'm still going through it. But one thing that came to me is the line from the sutra we just read earlier. It's page 9 in the sutra. It starts from the bottom of page 8. You also need a bamboo pole. This pole is the meaning of the true words. When you go down a rapid stream, you need to punt in a stream. Then you can change your course. So, we read this every morning and night. But when I, had my doubts against myself, can I really change? Can I really change to be the type of person that Master wants us to be? I have always had this, doubt come into my mind, kind of like giving up on myself. Because I've tried a lot in the past. I've tried. Ever since I got in Happy Science, it's all about self-transformation to become a better angel-like being. So the more you study these teachings, sometimes, this was my first experience, but you get this pressure of needing to become better and better, which is a good thing. It's a great thing. It really makes us happier. But in the stages of enlightenment, it's not an easy path. It's more of a narrow path. And when you hit these brick walls or a ceiling, it's tough. It hurts. But then I was like, wait a minute, Yushi. So you're allowing your doubt to be stronger than the true words spoken by Buddha. Master is clearly teaching us in this sutra that if you punt in a stream with the bamboo pole called Buddha's teachings, you can change your course. You can. So this is where I had this feeling, I can. It's not the I can that I used to have, or maybe a lot of us used to have, of trying to open a successful or a prosperous future using Master's teachings of progress. But it's the I can of not in progress, but it's the I can in self-reflection. That we can self-reflect, that we can change. Also, it is the I can that we can give love. I can give love. I can be a loving person. So it was this inner conflict of faith and doubt, but it's obvious that we should take hold of faith. So that's what I decided to do. And today's Sunday service is just a little bit of a sharing of my journey of what it means to go through self-transformation by having belief in the Lord's wonderful teachings. So that's good enough for introduction. Let's dive right in. Going back to the PowerPoint. Today I'm going to be going over 6 topics together. The first one is, why is it such a big issue, this Tengu Yoma stuff? Well, why is it such a big issue? The second, what does a Tengu look like? This is one of the important teachings that Master's given us this year. It's related to the characteristics of them. And then in more detail, we'll look at the characteristics of a Tengu. And then 4, I'd like to go over this point. Anyone is a candidate of becoming a Tengu. And then 5th, how to achieve true success. So what is El Kuntare's definition of success that is different from Tengu's success? And then the last one is the secret weapon of not becoming a Tengu. So these are the 6 points that I would like to go over. And in today's seminar, I focused most of the teachings from these 2, I guess, kiltens. This one's a kilten. Looks like this. It's called, Why is the Mind of a Tengu a Problem? The subtitle is Discovering the Mind That Furthers You Away from the Truth. Discovering the mind that furthers you away from the truth. And then, check this out. I don't know if you guys can see it on YouTube, but Master Okawa, he does numerous things to guide humanity to happiness. Did you know that we have a new type of shouja? It's called an angel shouja. Have you ever heard of it? Angel shouja. Have you heard of it? Angel shouja. So it's in Japan. It is a shouja for little toddlers. So it's like, what is that? Not a daycare place, but it's like a preschool kind of kindergarten place. And because, Master built that, he's also making materials for those places. And he, this one is actually guided by Master and actually written by Sayaka Okawa, his daughter, the successor of Happy Science. And this is a little picture book that is about a Tengu. It's really cute, and it's really helpful. These picture books. Don't belittle these picture books. We have some in English too, but the truth is shown in really simple things. And when we face these kind of like scary entities, it could provoke fear in us. So starting out from a picture book, it's actually, for me, it was helpful. I was able to accept myself as like this little cute little guy here. But anyhow, these are the 2 kiltens that I took most of the teachings for today. All right, so why is it then? Let's look at the first one. Why is it such a big issue? Listed 6 points. The first one is when you start gaining guidance from the spiritual world from a Tengu, you start becoming very selfish. Or actually maybe the vice versa. When you're selfish, you can attract these types of spiritual entities. And another issue, the second one, it steers you away from faith. Third, it creates disharmony. Fourth, can't cooperate or work in a team. Fifth, people won't follow you if you're a leader. And lastly, you can't attain a true, long-lasting success. All right, so let's go in a little one by one. Selfish, as I've already explained in the beginning, people who are self-absorbed, self-interested in their own success only, meaning seeking success for their own benefits, such as, I want to become a CEO because I don't want to listen to other bosses. I want to be my own boss. Or I want to just get a lot of money to show the world that I'm capable, to prove my parents that I'm better than them. These kind of things. Many things can motivate you towards success in this world, but it could be rooted from a selfish desire. And that attracts Tengus. And then when you attract Tengu, the second point was it steers you away from faith. Well, why is this? It's because you're so narcissistic. You have so much belief that you are great. Your ego bloats up to the level of the universe. So in Happy Science, we have a spiritual meditation called Being One with the Universe. That's a great meditation. But these people, they bloat their ego to the level of the universe, meaning they're the greatest. Their opinion is the best. And this is what causes, let me show you the slide. This is what causes disharmony. We'll get in a little more details in the next slides. And then, of course, you can't cooperate with others if you are like a Tengu Mind, if you have a Tengu Mind, or work in a team. Because you're so selfish, first off, the people who are working under you will feel like they're being deprived energy and it's not worth working there. And then what do? In America, as you know, a lot of people switches jobs really quickly. So your human resources, your assets, leaves the company. So it does not lead to true success, even though temporarily you may become successful because you're so strong-willed. And then the same as people won't follow you. And then, going back to number 4, why can't you cooperate? Because you're so self-absorbed in your strengths and the goal that you'd like to achieve, your team members start looking like pieces on a chessboard, not human beings with hearts and with love. And it's just, how should I say this? And once you start using people, utilizing them as pawns, it just doesn't work out right. They will lose motivation, and the human relationships with them will eventually sour. And then without the cooperation with other people, you can't do any great work. So naturally, it just doesn't work. It's a simple formula. And then lastly, you can't attain true, long-lasting success. Tengus, they have the tendency of slacking off. And they have the tendency of glorifying their own success from the past. And so they're so self-absorbed and they're intoxicated with their golden age that they've had in the past. And they can't let that go. Due to that, it leads to a lack of further efforts. And with a lack of further efforts, obviously, eventually, you will not be able to become successful. So these are the reasons Master has been giving us why this is such a big issue. And from his observation, there's a lot of people like this, even within the Sangha. Within the Sangha, there are a lot of people who are self-absorbed. Now, let's go more into the characteristics. What does a Tengu look like? So I circled 4 points of their what they have. Spiritually, that's what they look like. And then what do each of these things mean? This long nose, maybe in America we don't have that connotation, but having a long nose in Japan or in Japanese, it means arrogance. So it doesn't mean like Pinocchio, when you lie your nose grows. It's not like that. But a person with like a high nose, in Japanese, high nose, it's like a person who's always like looking up and just so, only believes he's number one. The second one, they have an 8-point leaf, this huge leaf. And with this, they can blow a strong wind. So what does this strong wind mean? It means that they focus on the mojo. They love the momentum. They love progress and speeding things up, bringing about a change, innovation, creative destruction. These kind of things, they do it with this strong gale. And then the next one is they have this miniature telescope, like binoculars, I guess. So what this is you're able to see far away. You're able to see far away. So Master Okawa is teaching us that, yeah, it's not like they're from hell. They're spiritual entities from the minor side of heaven. So they do have spiritual power. And as one strong characteristic of their spiritual power, they have strong insights. So they do have the ability to be able to foresee someone's future, or they can read what the other person is thinking. But the characteristic of a Tengu is they can see how other people think, but they can't see what they're thinking. Their self-assessment is completely different seen from an objective person, is what I mean. So that's their third characteristic. The fourth characteristic is to the bottom right. They wear this tall, one-toothed wooden clog, like a wooden shoe, sandals. So what does this mean? This means this is actually something worn for ascetics in Japan, people who are training in the mountains. And when they wear this, what happens is it helps them climb the mountain really easier. Because just think about the physics of it. It's just one little cloud coming out, right? One little wooden teeth coming out. So when you like kind of like put yourself forward, what happens is you get the momentum. So then it's easy for you to climb a mountain. And it's also like it digs in, so it's easy for you to climb. I say this as if I was wearing one. I've never worn one in this lifetime, but do you get it though? It's like I guess like in mountain climbing too, they have like little spikes. It's kind of like that. It's easy for you to go up. But please use your imagination. If you're wearing this and try going down the mountain or downhill, how would that be like? It's really hard. You will fall, exactly. If this is hard to imagine, have you ever tried a pogo stick? Pogo stick. It's a little one stick. It's like it's got a spring in the middle, and then you like hop. Yeah, right. Little kids play with it. A pogo stick. So I used to, when I was living in Chicago, I used to play around with the pogo stick, and then in summertime, and then like I lived in a court where it's a little uphill. So it's easy for me to go on the pogo stick going up, or like up the driveway. But then when you go down the driveway with the pogo stick, you slam your face on the floor. It just doesn't work that way. So that's what this little thing means, this wooden clog means. Meaning, they love progressing. And they are so well at going up. But once things like change, once it turns into like a headwind, once they start facing obstacles, such as being demoted, something like that, once they start going downhill, they keep on rolling and they won't be able to stop. Meaning, they're weak against hardships. Weak against hardships. They give up too easily. And the whole thing crashes. So, and also, even though it's not in this picture, Tengus, they tend to like to sumo wrestle. They love wrestling. And they love to wrestle with people who seem stronger than them. Why is this? It's because they're so focused on always being number one. The moment they see someone who seems stronger than them, they won't feel comfortable because they need to be number one. So then what do? They fight them. They wrestle them. And then they beat them, and then they're happy that they're number one. So that's a very super strong Tengu. From my observation, how about like a medium, weaker type of Tengu? When a strong, even though they're not enemies, they think that everything besides them is an enemy if they're strong. Another strong Tengu type, strong type comes out, what they do, if they feel that they can't win, they try to find a different place to win, or they start backstabbing this person because they know that they won't be able to win in a one-on-one fight, so they will try to drag them down in a different way by, like, I guess, gossiping or many other ways. So either way, they can't collaborate and can't stand being number 2. Just has to be number 1. So attached to it. So those are the 5 points, characteristics you can learn from the appearance of a Tengu. Doing a quick review. Arrogance is the nose. Loves to focus on momentum is the big leaf. Mind reading is the telescope, the binoculars. And then love competing with stronger people is the sumo wrestling. And then the 5th one is that shoe with 1 tooth. All right. Now let's go into a little more details of what a Tengu is from a recent lecture that Master has given us. This lecture is called Onshirazu Sakaurami o Kinishinai Hou. The laws of not caring people who are inappreciative and rebellious. So in this lecture, Master talks about 6 characteristics or 6 minds that can lead you to be like a Tengu. The first one is they have the tendency to take things for granted. Spoiled people, simply put. And then the second thing, they have the tendency to be very assertive or pushy and makes them strong-willed. But strong-willed sounds nice, but more in negative terms, it means they're very stubborn. The third thing that we learned is when things go against them, they become rebellious and they're filled with ingratitude. So to give you a further explanation on this, let's say that there is a boss who is taking real good care of his subordinate, and then the subordinate is competent, he was doing good. But then the boss had to scold this subordinate because he made a mistake. And then if you're a Tengu type, if this subordinate is a Tengu type, what they do is, even though the boss was so loving and caring up until that moment, no matter how many years it was, even though how great the amount the love was, they become rebellious. Just because of that simple thing, they feel that they were shunned down. So they become rebellious and they're completely inappreciative. So I guess when we're all children, don't we do that? When we're rebellious towards our parents? So these Tengus are like people who are child adults who weren't able to grow out of these immature mindsets. And then the 4th point is this is a very important law that Master's taught us in this lecture. People tend to end up being like the person they disliked. People tend to end up being just like the person they disliked. So this is a very surprising, but Master talks about this teaching. He's talked about this a couple of times in the past already. So, and I saw this in myself too. I used to say, bad things about a certain person, but when that certain person moves somewhere else, I noticed myself doing the same exact thing. It's very scary. Now, why is this a Tengu mind? So, you know how I said they have like that little telescope? So they can see other people's minds. So they are sharp. They can detect other people's shortcomings and other people's, strengths too. They can see them. But because there's only, they don't see their own mind, the fact that they can see that means they have that in their own mind. That's why they're aware of the other people's shortcomings. So that's the scary part. And then the 5th point, very scary, huh? They tend to fail after a promotion. They tend to fail after a promotion. Why does this occur? This is a Kilton called Sokojikara. What's Sokojikara? The inner power? No, the bottom power. It's like the inner power. The steady power of being modest. The steady power of being modest. This is a Kilton that Master's given us last year. And in this, Master talks about a tendency of a person who has a Tengu mind, who, you know how I said earlier that they are self-absorbed, they love the success they've had in the past. they have like a hall of fame of their own great history, and they're always looking at it. So they're not future. They're actually not that smart. They're not rigging things ahead. And then once they get a promotion, have you ever heard of something in business called the Peters Law? The Peters Law. So this means, it's like Master talks about a couple times in the Japanese lecture. He said it's a law, it's a principle where when someone is promoted, they make a mistake because they do the same thing as they were when they were one rank below. So, if you become a manager, the way you work as a manager is different from a normal salaried person. There's different principles behind it. But a Tengu, here we go. This is where the Tengu comes in. When they're promoted, because they're so self-absorbed in the past, they're not prepared for the future. They think it's fine what they do right now. It's okay. I will prepare once I get there. That's all they're thinking. But then once they're bumped up, because they haven't been prepared, they fall. So when it comes to work, teachings on work, Master always says, always observe 1 rank ahead, 2 ranks ahead, and even think about what the CEO is thinking in your company. And always try to have that view and be prepared. And I don't think this is something that people will teach you. Obviously, your boss probably won't teach you because that'll mean, usually they won't teach you because that'll mean that they see you as a rival. So you will be taking their position in the future, right? So they're not kind enough to tell you these things. I'm sounding a little cruel, but this is the reality of the world out there. Like this lecture, again, the title of this lecture on the bottom right is The Law of Not Caring People Who Are Rebellious and Who Are Ingrateful. So he's saying like the world out there can be a dog-eat-dog world. And Happy Science members, we focus on the teachings of kindness and love. So sometimes we are, how should I say this? We are not used to that kind of like evil. So he's, teaching us the teachings of wisdom to protect ourselves. But going back to the 6 points, the last one, they dislike following orders, rules, or in more concrete terms, they hate innovation. They hate following new trend. So what does this mean? If it's a direction that they gave, they're okay with it. But if it's a direction that came from somewhere else, and if they don't like it, they dislike following it. So they hate following rules or directions that's given from the higher ups. And so these were the 6 points that Master has taught us in this new lecture. Now, so far, we've seen many tendencies of the Tengus, right? Would you want to be a friend with a Tengu? A person like this? Probably not. If that's the case, let's not try to be one ourselves. But here's the scary part. In this Kyoten, Master is saying, anyone can become a Tengu. Anyone. Why is that? Let's look at the next slide. He states in this Kyoten, the reason of becoming one can be found in 6 worldly delusions, which is greed, anger, foolishness, pride, doubt, and wrong views. And I forgot what page it was on. Page 56 of this Kyoten. Master says these 3 lines on the bottom of the slide. Not being able to accept your mistakes or other people's advice results in having a Tengu mind. Not being able to accept your own mistakes or the advice given from other people results in having a Tengu mind. Now, I'm sorry, this is the Kyoten that I was talking about for people who's watching on YouTube, page 56. So if that's the case, Master in the last part, he talks about the 6 worldly delusions leads us to a Tengu mind. Why is this? Because if you have greed, if you're full of greed, do you think you can listen to other people's advice of you should let that go? You can't. You'd rather take than letting go. And then let's look at the next one. If you're angry, if you're always angered, if you're always furious, it's probably because you feel you're in the side of just, or you're right. That's why you're angry, right? So that means you can't listen to other people's advice. The third one, foolishness. This is pretty, I guess, obvious. Some people are foolish. In a recent book that I was reading, he described foolishness as if a fly has came into your house. So, unfortunately, when we were having the spectacular koan seminar 2 weeks ago, there was a big fly in this room. I'm so sorry it came in. It literally slipped in the last moment before I closed the door. So I hope that fly, I was able to allow it to go to heaven the week after. And I hope that fly has attained a little bit of enlightenment to not cause trouble in the next fly lifetime. But when a fly comes into someone's house, have you ever noticed that because you want to get it out, you open the door, right? It's like, shoo, get out. And then they start flying that way. And they're like, yes, it's going to go out. But all of a sudden they switch, like they move the course and they hit a window. And they just keep on hitting the window. It's like if they're just a couple inches below, they can go out the door. But they're just hitting the window. So Master is saying a person who is foolish is like this fly. Because they don't know that if they don't know the concept of glass. They don't know the concept of a window. So they go flying thinking that I'm free, but then hits the window. But then he does it again and just does it over and over again. And in the end, they go back all the way even more inside and they never get out. So what he means, it's pretty simple, right? Knowledge is a path to happiness. Knowing is actually a path to happiness. And the state of not knowing is foolishness. So if you're foolish, let's say that someone from a more enlightened position, more experienced position, tries to give you an advice. If you're foolish, it's like, no, I see that this is a clear, there's no obstacles. I can see through. If I can see through, it means there's nothing obstructing it. If there's nothing obstructing it, it means physically I'm supposed to go through this. It's a fly trying to tell a human being that it doesn't work. And this is a funny analogy, but if you think about it, if you really think about it, we tend to do this a lot in our lives. And then the next one, pride. This is simple, right? If you're proud, if you think you're number one, obviously it doesn't feel good to be even given an advice. The moment you are given an advice, you have this feeling. It's like, that's a Tengu Mind. It means that you're too proud of yourself. And then the fifth one is doubt. If you're always doubtful towards Buddha's truth or other people, obviously you can't listen to it. And then here's the scary one, ladies and gentlemen, that's hurting humanity in the modern times so much. Wrong views. Wrong views. Come to think of it, why is wrong views so prevalent in this world? Master actually clearly explained this. One way he explained it was we are living in the age of information democracy. Information democracy. Meaning anyone can be authors now. Anyone can share the opinion through a social network platform. So back then, during the times of the Age of Enlightenment, 17th, 18th century, what occurred? Great philosophers took a long time to write a book, and then people would read it. And every time they would read a book, I don't know if you guys know this, but all the papers used to be sealed. So what they would do is they would take a cutter and they would cut each page open to gain the new knowledge that was being published to the world. That means knowledge was much more sophisticated compared to modern days. But because so much information is flooding now, it has led to the lowering of the level of information. Hence, that's one reason for why there's a lot of wrong views. And if you are painted with wrong views, what happens is, obviously, you won't be able to listen to people's advice. So as you can see, all of these 6 worldly delusions leads us to not accepting, here's the first one too, not being able to accept your own mistake. I was just taking it from the angle of other people's advice, but you yourself won't be even able to self-reflect if you have these 6 poisons of the mind. So anyone can become a Tengu. With that said, how do we not become a Tengu? Well, first off, let's look at the characteristics of a true success. I've talked about 3 points that's written from this Kyoten. 1, having a sacred desire. Having a sacred desire. Always try to purify your mind by having a noble aspiration. Now, here's the thing. Please remember one thing. This is so important. Tengus are not beings from hell. So it doesn't mean you're bad. It's if you have a Tengu mind from the concept of heaven and hell. So there's a lot of us in this spiritual community who focuses and emphasizes on their spiritual ability. But that is, again, like a Tengu mind. You're only focused on yourself, right? And not only that, even if you're from the world of business, at first maybe you had a pure heart, but then eventually when you go up the success ladder, you start attaching yourself to the title of your business card. And then the more it goes like that, you become narrow-minded and you just start thinking about how to protect yourself. We see a lot of this in politicians too. This is what is creating so much chaos in American politics right now, world politics right now. So this don't have a Tengu mind. Please don't think that it's for teachings just for us. It's literally the teachings for all the population out there, the 8 billion people who's living out there. So trying to have a sacred desire is the first step. The second step, Master talks about Benjamin Disraeli and William Gladstone. So these are 2 prime ministers of the Great Britain. And in this Kyoten, Master talks about a story, a real life story, where this one lady was invited to have a chat with Gladstone. And she had a chat with Gladstone. After that, she was invited and had a chat with Disraeli. And then she was asked, how was it like talking to Gladstone? She answered, I felt he is the smartest man in this world. This lady who was just invited. And then she said, Gladstone's the smartest guy. And then she was asked, how did you feel after talking to Disraeli? She said, I felt I'm the smartest woman in the world. I felt I'm the smartest woman in the world. And here's a question. Who's a better prime minister? Gladstone or Disraeli? Disraeli. Okay, let's do a raise of hands. Who thinks Gladstone is a better prime minister? Yeah, okay. And then who thinks Disraeli is a better prime minister? How about you?
I don't even know who they are. I'm trying to find out from you.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, I don't really know too much. Well, I mean, one's a liberal and one's a conservative. But I don't know too much too. But this story is trying to say, Master is saying that Disraeli is a better person. He's more capable as a human being. So Henry, you're right. Why is this? Master is saying that, this Kyoten, the issue with the problem of the Tengu mind is that you can't cooperate with others, right? And if you think about it, if that woman felt talking to Gladstone that Gladstone's the smartest person on earth, it probably means Gladstone was doing all the talking, maybe a little bit of bragging, right? But then Disraeli, he's a prime minister, and he spoke to just one civilian, and he made her feel as if she is the smartest person in the world. That shows you how much he has the ability to seek out, in our terms, the Buddha nature of that person, the capability of that person. So Master's saying, who will become truly successful in life? It's actually Disraeli. Not as only a politician, in any field of work. And then the last one, how to achieve true success. Matsushita Konosuke is called the god of management in Japan. And he gives Happy Science a lot of guidance as a spirit. So the essence of success in management, he said it in one word. Be capable of using people who are more capable. I guess that's from Japan, but here in the United States, the person who's famous for saying something like that would be Andrew Carnegie. Apparently on his, like, not a death stone, but on his grave, it says something like, "Here sleeps a man who is able to use people who are more capable than him." So what does this mean? It means that if you really, really want to try to grow, whatever it is, company, religion, whatever, your politics, whatever, going to Drucker is saying that you can't continue running a big organization by being a genius. You just can't. There's way too many things that you have to cover as one person. So what you got to do is you have to gain the support of people with special expertise in different fields. There's so much needed to run something as a team. So, but in order to be able to use these people, maybe overall as a general manager, you're more capable than him, but certainly there's aspect of that person that's better than you, such as if it's marketing, if it's for sales, if it's for administrative stuff. Whatever it is, there are people who are more creative, whatever. There are more people who has a higher capability than you. But again, going back to the Tengu, remember, Tengus like to sumo wrestle. They like to wrestle. The moment they see someone strong, they want to beat them. As long as they're winning, they're cool with it. So when a capable person comes out, what do? They bully him or her, or be mean to him or her, or try to push them down, whatever it is. So they don't have the capacity to be able to use people who has more power than them. Now, this is much easier said than done, being capable of using people who are more capable. Because if you're like, oh, okay, so if this is teachings, I'm just gonna go out and be like, oh, you're great, please do this for me. Oh, you're awesome, you're so much better than me. Let's say that you always tell that to your subordinate. What's gonna happen to that subordinate? That subordinate turns into a Tengu. So it's important to, it's a balance. Yes, you cherish their strengths and you want to nurture it and you want it to be utilized. But also at the same time, what a true leader needs, Master says, is virtue. There's an old Chinese saying that capability is used by virtue. So people who are virtuous are the ones who can use people's strengths. So being able to have this big heart, it's much harder than we think. So these are the hints that Master has taught us to get ourselves away from being a Tengu. The last part of today's Sunday service, I would like to go over the secret teachings of not becoming a Tengu. One is aspire to become a silent person with deep wisdom. 2, with great power comes great responsibility. And 3, the old fable, the tortoise and the hare, and the ant and the grasshopper. So let's look at the first one. Aspire to become a silent person with deep wisdom. So in this kyoten, in the very, very last concluding page, Master is stating this. If you want to go far, it's important for you to become a silent person with deep wisdom. As long as you do this, you will naturally depart from the Tengu mind. You will naturally depart from the Tengu mind. So you don't have to focus on fixing a Tengu mind. You just have to do this. Silent, deep wisdom. When I read this sentence, I think, we all would probably definitely go to this kyoten. The rebirth of Buddha. Such a amazing kyoten. And I especially like chapter 5, Patience and Success. And there's a section called Walk Quietly. So I'd like to quote 4 pages from this section. Walk quietly. I have always taught you to get rid of attachments. The biggest attachment that will prevent you from achieving success is your attachment to time. Your attachment to time is called haste. Haste. Hasty. It is the sense of urgency to reach your goals. You suffer constantly at the hand of the attachment called impatience. You are constantly trapped by delusions because of this attachment called haste. You are constantly made a prisoner of it. My people, know that haste is an enemy of life. Those who walk quietly shall travel far. Those who run silently shall travel a great distance. However, those who sound their bells and pound their drums shall not progress very far on their journey. For masses of people will gather to the festive sounds and speak to the traveler. As the traveler speaks with these people, he soon forgets the original purpose of his journey. Thus, my people, if you wish to hurry on your journey, you must go quietly. If your destination lies far ahead, you must go quietly. You must walk calmly in a state of deep reflection. Do not be hasty in your journey. Do not rush on your way. Have you ever thought about the nature of haste? Hastiness is the desire to see results quickly. Hastiness is the desire to be the first to attain results. It is the desire to reach the goal of one's efforts without making the actual efforts. Therefore, my people, keep these words well in your hearts. I'm just going to quit it right there. Thank you, Lord. It's good. But when I go back to my real life, I'm like, all right, how many people are we going to do missionary work this week? It's like, haste. Attachment to time. Well, here's the thing. If you're a high achiever, if you're working in this world, that must have sounded like, what in the world is he talking about? It's like, if you wish to hurry on your journey, go quietly and quickly. What does that mean? Do not be hasty. How can I not be hasty? If I'm not hasty enough to reach these results, I'm going to be demoted. I can even lose my job. What is he talking about? The truth, ladies and gentlemen, you have to apply these words, not word for word, but you have to apply it into your own situation in your life. That is called entering the middle path. And in order to enter the middle path, Master has given us recently a new lecture, the easy way to enter the middle path. It was yeah.
Oh, there's an easy way?
Oh, there's an easy way is a question. Well, Carlos, to tell you the truth, although it's called the easy way to enter the middle path, it was still hard. So you get it. It's still hard. But it's an easy way to understand the middle path. So what Master is saying is, especially young people, but I think it applies to everyone, what is the middle path? Simply put, it's to live a life that doesn't harm others, but also it doesn't harm yourself, which leads to a bright future. That's the essence of the middle path. You're not harming others. At the same time, you're not hurting yourself. You're not suppressing your Buddha nature. And it leads to a future. It opens a bright future. Not hurt others and not hurt yourself, but open a future. So you can't be sitting in the cave because you're happy to be quiet. So you're sitting there and I'm not hurting myself because I love being quiet. I'm not hurting others because I'm in a cave. But you're missing the last part. You're not opening a future. So it's all these three. So as I said, Carlos, this is harder than we think, right? It's hard, but it is easier because what's up? It's simple and hard, and I lost the track of my thought. The Eightfold Path is hard to get there. The middle. Oh yes, the middle path. So, we're talking about if you want to go far, you have to go slowly or quietly. But to do so, what this means is more than a lot of the times, the goal we set for ourselves, or that sounds noble, the desire we have of what we want to achieve, could be not fit for you. It's like, all right, ask that dream when you grow 10 more years. You're seeking something out of your league. Let's put it that way. A lot of the times you could be seeking something that's out of your league, or it's just not in the direction of your soul. So always trying to find the right path, the middle path, is again, don't harm others, don't harm yourself, and make it sure that it leads to a bright future. It's secret, you're right. It's a secret teaching. All right, the second one. With great power comes great responsibility. So this kyoten, the power of humility or modesty, there's 4 chapters in this kyoten, but this phrase comes out like 4 or 5 times. It's so important. With great power comes great responsibility. So he gives us numerous examples, real life examples of how people are always trying to achieve success, and they do get promoted, but they fail right after because they weren't prepared. This preparedness is so crucial. It's a key. And what do you need to be prepared for? Same money. What you need to be prepared for is to be able to take on a big responsibility. Because you going higher up in society means there's much more responsibility. And that means, ladies and gentlemen, your freedom will be restricted. Your freedom will be restricted. There's a Happy Science Academy teacher of one of my colleagues. We went out, I forgot when it was, when I was in Tokyo. We went out to grab a bite, and then we went into McDonald's, right? And then, McDonald's, it's something that we all can eat anytime we want. And then he's like, oh, I can eat McDonald's, I'm so happy. I was like, what are you talking about? So apparently at the Happy Science Academy, because they want to focus on their students to not waste their money or to study more, there's a specific time frame during the year where they're not allowed to go out to eat. So he once scolded his student because he snuck in McDonald's food. So he scolded him. He scolded his student. So the person who's scolding him can't be eating McDonald's, right? So he was so happy to eat McDonald's. I was like, oh, wow. I mean, being a teacher is it's a very noble, it's not labor. It's such a noble calling. But, being a teacher, it's a great occupation. It restricts your freedom. Or if you're a judge, let's say that you're a judge. As a judge, there was this issue in Japan where I forgot what level judge he was, but he had this tendency of a stalker. So he fell in so much in love with the lady who lives 1 floor below his apartment. So what he did is he set up a camera to peek in where she's undressing. It was a judge. I think it was a judge, right? I think so. It was in the news, right? So that's come on. It's something that, even if you're as a normal person, you shouldn't be doing it. But as a judge, that's even worse. So it's the more higher you will go up in society, your freedom is restricted. Responsibility is big. Master talks about in the management principles, he says that every new subordinate you have gives you more pressure. Stress. He will give you more stress. Meaning not having a bad, it means you have that much responsibility to take care of. So are you prepared for this? Is the question he's asking us. No. No, exactly. Usually, we don't think that far ahead. That is why, please, he's saying, encarve these words in your mind, encarve it into your soul. With great power comes great responsibility. Just by learning this, knowing this sentence as the fly analogy, just by having this knowledge, it can protect you from future downfalls. And last but not least, the tortoise and the hare, the ant and the grasshopper. Slowly, steadily, and gradually. I'm sure we all learned about this fable somewhere along our life. When we were young, we probably saw it. But this is such an important teachings that Master said, as long as you know these two stories and live it, it can protect you from a good percentage of life's miseries. A good percentage of life's miseries can be prevented just by knowing these two stories. And you probably know it, so I'm not going to be sharing. But again, yes, that's right. It's steadily, slowly, and gradually. So this is a secret teaching of not being a Tengu. Lastly, the secret weapon of being not being Tengu. We have this movie coming up next week, Beautiful Lore. This woman is female Tengu. Yes, that's a Yoma. And also, there's music that helps us overcome these kind of Tengu minds. Also, next week, May 16th is going to be the Sunday, but May 14th is a huge holiday for Happy Science. It's kind of like Easter in Christianity, but it's the New Resurrection Day. Prayer for New Resurrection will be conducted next week. And on the left, as you can see, this is just an excerpt from the prayer. Please allow me to wish for new resurrection of my life and my body. Please also allow new resurrection of our loved ones. It's an amazing Kigan. We can only take it once a year during this weekend, so I hope you can come and join and take it. And also, this Kilton, a marvelous Kilton. It's filled with Master's autobiography of him overcoming his physical death. It's filled with the poems that he wrote during this period, and it's just so gorgeous knowing that he wrote all these while he was about to face death. And last but not least, you can see all the history of his Happy Science, which means it's the actualized form of love that Master Okawa Alcantara has left on this planet so far in these 30 years. It'll make you speechless. So, a holy Kilton. All right, so this is the end for people who's watching on YouTube. For people who are here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do music meditation. Yes, so there's two songs. It's not like we're gonna be meditating. We're gonna be following the lyrics, but you just listen to the lyrics and you feel the song. It's in Japanese, and then it'll help. It's like a new way of meditation. But we're gonna do this together. And for those who's watching on YouTube right now live, go ahead and open your Zoom app, punch in this number, and then the passcode, and then you'll be able to join together. So give us a little moment, maybe like 2 or 3 minutes to switch over to Zoom. And then we're also going to do Q&A. If you have any questions, we're going to do it over Zoom. So again, for those who's watching, oh, sorry, the camera's gone. But for those who's watching on YouTube, thank you so much for joining. Let us overcome the Tengu Mind. Thank you very much. No Tengu Mind. No Tengu Mind. All right, so let's switch over to Zoom.